Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum.
That's not the way to start a video. How should we open up with? I know.
Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum. Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum.
The Phantom of the Opera has had many reincarnations about a genius artist, but disfigured outcast living in the sewers of an opera theater. And after facing a romantic dissolution, he goes into an obsessive killing rampage. It first debuted as a book by Gaston Leroux, then it was first presented as a horror silent film, later it became part of the monster universe with Dracula and Frankenstein. It's been modernized into several horror interpretations, even into a rock concert from the 70s. Then in 1986, Andrew Lloyd reinvented the horrific tale into a romanticized musical play. Instead of the Phantom being a terrifying villain, he was a charismatic, tormented sex appeal. After the great success of the musical, a film was said to be adapted in 1989, with the original cast playing their respective parts. But production didn't start until 2002 due to one of the actors going through divorce, which at this point the crew needed a younger cast of unknowns. There was some talk about Antonio Banderas or Hugh Jackman playing the Phantom, but in the end it was given to unknown Gerald Butler at that time, someone who had no singing experience. It might sound unfair to compare two different styles of filmmaking, one being a silent movie and the other one being a musical, but I still thought it would be more interesting since they both carry some of the more familiar aspects of the story. The chandelier falling, the horse in the sewer, the masquerade ball. So for my next comparison, these are the following. The Phantom of the Opera. The Phantom of the Opera. What do these two have in common?
Horse in the sewer still makes no sense.
Yeah, it's a fan thing. People still complain about the horse in the sewer, which still makes no sense. Now, since both films are from two different eras, there are some things that may not hold on as well in the original, or there is enough room to improve some of the aspects that were not fully fleshed out as well, like Christine for example. The story is told from her point of view. Through her, we get an idea of which characters we can trust, like the Phantom for instance. In the silent version, when she meets the Phantom for the first time, she's afraid of him, which lets us know we can trust him and that we should be afraid of him. In the musical, she's in awe and wonder as to who is this mysterious figure. We may not trust him at first, but he is an intriguing presence that we can't help but to feel awe and wonder about who is he. On top of that, this Christine is much better fleshed out than in the silent version, where she's the typical damsel in distress, and her only purpose is to make the villain look more terrifying and the main hero more heroic. Plus, this Christine is made to look beyond weak. When the Phantom starts telling her who he is, she just faints. What? Lady, he's sharing with you his tragic backstory, and you just blank out on him? You would be the worst therapist if my traumatic healing depended on you. In the musical, Christine is someone with a past and an unresolved conflict. She hasn't gotten over the loss of her father, who she admired and grew up with stories about an angel of music watching over her. So this would be the trigger the Phantom would use to take advantage of Christine, when making her believe that the angel of music is him. Not because she's a weak damsel, but due to her vulnerable state of mind. A mind that shows signs of depression when she can't accept her sad reality, then submerges into a fantasy for escapism until she accepts her reality and sees through the manipulation. Another small improvement is the side characters, whereas in the silent version they have a minor role and only serve as a cameo like Carlotta. They're the funniest and most entertaining in the musical, the two incompetent managers, Carlotta the spoiled singer. Maybe the secret police character in the silent version is the most interesting of the side cast. But if there is one aspect from each film that is a deal maker or a breaker, that is the Phantom himself. They're both genius artists who face romantic heartbreaks, but since the original is a horror film and the musical is a tragic romance, both Phantoms have a different outlook. In the original, he's pitiful and pathetic. In the musical, he's more like a playboy model that girls can love and guys can envy. In the silent version, he's a monster with no redeemable qualities. In the musical, he goes back and forth being an anti-hero, a villain, a tragic figure, then a villain again, and then finds redemption in the end. Due to the different styles of filmmaking, the actors have to rely on different styles of performance. In the silent version, Lon Chaney had to rely on his facial expression and body movement to express terror. In the musical, Gerald Butler has to rely on his singing voice to express sorrow. Now, you would assume since it's a musical, the Phantom in here would be much better, when honestly, I actually prefer Lon Chaney out of these two. How so? He doesn't sing, he doesn't do any of the complicated stuff like in the musical, and that's why he excels better, because he didn't need to do all of those stuff. He relied on the simplicity of his makeup alone. People fainted and yelled at the premiere during the face reveal for how hideous it looked, and to this day it still holds on as a terrifying look. After all, Lon Chaney was known as the man of 1,000 faces during the silent film era for doing his own makeup in all of his films, The Phantom being his most popular. And his son Lon Chaney Jr. would follow up his footsteps when he interpreted the iconic Wolfman in the 40s. So while Chaney's performance was more simple but effective, Gerald Butler's was more complicated and unfortunately missed some of his marks. The main issue with Gerald Butler being casted as the Phantom was his lack of musical experience, which he had none. That begs the question, why would you cast someone who has never sang for a part that demands to show seduction, pain, anger, and sadness in his voice? But for whatever reason, with all the pressure he had on following the footsteps of the Broadway musical, he tried his best. And sometimes he did sound pretty good. Other times he sounded more drunk and angry, when he was supposed to sound more seductive. The issue with musicals is that they're very hard to adapt on the big screen. But on film, they have a great advantage to show off bigger sets, or submerge deep into the fantasy, creating imaginative worlds where the actors are in the moment, like in The Red Shoes, Singing in the Rain, Grease, La La Land, West Side Story. The Phantom of the Opera had so many missed opportunities to submerge into the fantasy. Imagine how impactful Music of the Night would have been if it had gone into a dreamlike scenario, showing how deep the Phantom has gone into the mind of Christine, and instead is shot very still. In fact, everything in this movie is shot very still. With all the limitations a Broadway play can have, even the musical remake play seem much grander and bigger than the movie itself. The face reveal in each movie is also a big build-up. As I mentioned, in the original, it was shocking and memorable. In the musical, it was a bit of a letdown when the face reveal was a sunburn. Ah, come on, that's not so bad. Could have been worse. Even the climax is so sloppily put together. At least in the silent version makes sense the Phantom would trap Raoul and make Christine to either choose him or watch Raoul die. When as in the musical, he's gonna put all his weight to hang Raoul, still hanging from the cellar. Besides, this Phantom is very contradictory. The musical tries to make us feel sorry for him, for his loneliness, his social banishment, and the fact that he can't get love as he wishes to. And sometimes, through the music, it is effective on showing his insecurities when he repeats the lines Raoul and Christine sang on top of the roof, demonstrating his genuine feelings towards her during the point of no return. But he's also a killer in the middle of the play, so are we supposed to fear him now? Or are we still supposed to feel sorry for him? He goes back and forth, which can be a little confusing for some. So when it comes to technicality, it's probably better to succeed in what is simple than to try something complicated and miss a lot of marks. The 2004 Phantom of the Opera has been the most divisive for fans. The musical play is still a fan favorite, but many had issue with the Phantom's lack of musical experience, the sloppy cinematography, the additional scenes that added nothing, and the fact that it was directed by Joel Schumacher, the guy that almost killed the superhero genre with Batman and Robin. So with all that said, does the film adaptation still deserve to be panned? Well, I'm gonna say something that I'm not supposed to say in the film community. Are you ready? Here it goes. I like the Joel Schumacher Phantom of the Opera better than the silent version. I know, it's not you, it's me! This is more of a personal preference since I grew up with this version. While I can recognize its flaws, I really love the songs, and I still listen to them every now and then. And to its credit, there are some decent shots and a few powerful hunting visuals. Now, credit to what credit is due. The silent version is a classic, one that shouldn't be disregarded. It's a pioneer to the German expressive style of filmmaking. Despite its limitations compared to the musical, it is a macabre looking film that grabs your attention with all the shadows and the pessimistic atmosphere. It all depends on which mood you're in. Are you interested in a more creepy phantom, or are you more interested in a romantic phantom? What do you think? Leave it in the comment sections if you think I have reached down to the point of no return. Just to clarify in Gerald Butler's defense of his singing voice, since we assume the Phantom is supposed to sound like an angel, since when did we assume an angel is supposed to sound beautiful or warmly like a mother figure? Since when did we assume angels are supposed to look beautiful? I mean, have you seen the one from Ezekiel in the Bible? Because if they can look like this, I'm pretty sure they can all sound like this.
This is Sparta!
And I thought I wasn't gonna make a 300 reference. And as you can tell from my opening, this channel from now on will no longer be called Classic Modern Reviews. From this day forward, it'll be known as Classic Modern Films. All the trouble just for that change! So what do you think about the Phantom of the Opera? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What's your favorite version of it? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe for more content. Well guys, tune in next time because when I get back, I'll be comparing The Lord of the Rings with Zack Snyder's Justice League. So for now, that's it for today. Ciao!
Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum.